And testing 1, 2, 3. All right. We are live. Awesomeness. How are we doing with our volume? Testing. Check, check, check. Why are we so low? We got to get louder. Well, I'm all the way up here. Okay, let's see when I add this. Boy, this is meant for much louder mics. Okay, with that being said, let's get going. Okay. Good morning, evening, or afternoon. And good morning, good evening, or afternoon, depending on what part of the globe you're on and what time zone you're in. I'm your host, Skeptically Speaking. Yes, indeed. You can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and now Substack. It's been great. And with that, let's see if I can. Let's see if we can play it. away we go. We've got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about. So, holy snakes on a plane, Batman. It looks like the U.S. got a new plane. I'll tell you what, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Let's get through words of the wisdom of today. So far, we've lived in peace for so long. Let's see if I can get this to fit. We've lived in peace for so long, we've neglected the possibility of evil, and we may have forgotten how to fight it. We've been fools in this land of ours, and this land of ours a fool's paradise. Always remember, foul racist MAGA bigots would rather suffer less than you rather than thrive next to you. This is the entire mindset of the MAGA movement. And that's why we are in the predicament that we are in. That is why they cannot be reached with logic or reason. They are incapable of learning and will only change course when their suffering reaches unimaginable proportions. And even then, they might not. Even then, you might not win them in the end. Holy shit. You know, it's the drained pool politics. They would rather see a bunch of people suffer and them suffer just a little bit less than to allow for people to live in freedom, to live in peace and prosperity. And that's the way it is. That is the way it is. But holy snakes on a plane, Batman. More like Trump's on a plane. You know what? We need Samuel L. Jackson to deal with these motherfucking snakes yet again. It's unbelievable. So Donald Trump got a new plane. And for $400 million, it seems that you too can buy a president. Isn't that nice? Isn't that just grand? You can buy a president too. Who knew? Oh man. But it's just never ending. It's just craziness. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't personal gifts covered under the emoluments clause? Anybody know the emoluments clause? Well, let's see. Emoluments clause refers to the provision in the U.S. Constitution that prohibits government officials from receiving gifts or benefits from foreign entities or from the federal government, aimed at preventing corruption and ensuring independence. The Foreign Emoluments Clause, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8. No person holding any office or profit or trust under the United States shall, without the consent of Congress, accept of any present emolument, office or title of any kind whatsoever from any king, prince, or foreign state. The Domestic Emoluments Clause, aka the Presidential Emoluments Clause. The President shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation which shall neither be increased nor diminished during the period for which he shall be elected, and he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them. I don't know. I'm not the best reader, but that seems pretty clear to me. That's cut and dry, don't you think? And again, for $400 million, this is what this plane is going to cost. $400 million. This is what it's going to cost. Yeah, so Andrea on Facebook says President Carter had to sell his peanut farm because of the emoluments clause. Amazing. Yeah, Muskrat bought him too, and yes, they don't have rational thoughts. Who knew? But what's strange to me is for $400 million, let's just break this down. In order to make this an official Air Force One. They're going to have to strip the hell out of it. They're going to have to strip it down, and they're going to have to make sure that it's worthy. They got to make sure that you can use it. They got to make sure it's not bugged. They have to make sure that nothing is amiss, that there are no explosives on board. You know, that is what's going to have to happen. And it just seems, I mean, bungling fools. So the first estimate that I got that it would cost was about $400 million, which is the price of the plane. But then somebody set me straight and said, no, wait a minute. It's actually more than that, because you're literally deconstructing it and then rebuilding it, essentially, is what you're doing. So the price is probably going to be closer to upwards to $1 billion. I mean, I thought Doge was in charge of finding fraud, waste, and abuse. Weren't you under that assumption too? Whatever happened? Whatever happened to Doge? I thought they were supposed to be looking out for us, checking on us, making sure. By the way, keep double tapping that screen. I'd appreciate that. For those of you who are on TikTok, please double tap. I appreciate that. And let's get to 25,000 likes. Let's get to 3 subscriptions and as many hearts as possible. Yes, please. So yeah, I mean, it's going to cost $1 billion to retrofit this, I guess is the word, retrofitting. But it's just no shame in their game whatsoever. Yeah, Muskrat is going to fuck around and find out. It wouldn't surprise me. It's not going to surprise me at all. But yeah, this is the state in which we live. Yes, please tap me. Oh, appreciate that. But let's go ahead and let's set the scene here a minute. So, according to Betty Bowers, this is a post from Betty Bowers on Blue Sky. You get 2 dolls and some pencils. I get a golden 747 jumbo jet. See? You get more things than I do. When was the last time you said thank you, Mr. President? This is the back shot of this airplane. For those of you who are on YouTube, look for Skeptically Speaking. So Andrea reminds us that the first quarter, his profits were down globally, about 71%. Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, his car, Muskrat, his vehicles are not safe. They are not safe at all. There are reports of people being locked inside the car, and then the car combusted. It caught on fire. Yeah, we're on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. So yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to me that this car would sell anywhere. I mean, it doesn't even meet the bare minimum requirements for safety in Europe. So they're like, no, you can't sell your Cybertruck here. Get it out of here. Yeah, so that's that. So just look at the back end of this monstrosity from Qatar. Our first Stalinist president. This is exactly what Stalin and Lenin did. Restricted the purchasing power of the populace by keeping them poor. Imagine a Democrat even suggesting that the amount of dolls a person could have or should have. We'd never hear the end of it. Right-wing screeching from coast to coast. You know, isn't this what they accused Obama of being? A fascist and a socialist. When his policies, as troublesome as they were in some respects, basically Obama saved capitalism because the entire country was going down because of these stupid banks that were, I mean, it was just a clusterfuck. And unfortunately, they couldn't give anything for us, right? They'll bail out Wall Street, they'll bail out the auto industry, but us, we don't get a bailout. I'll tell you what. Mm-mm. But see, this is what happens when you keep voting Republican. This is what happens. This is the type of government you get. Uh, the Tennessee Holler says, not that this needs to be said, but bribery out in the open is still bribery. Yeah. Here's a picture of Donald Trump in Qatar checking out. Either he's getting off of Air Force One or he's, I don't know. Who cares? Trump confirms that the reporting about the planes on Truth Social, saying the DOD is getting it as a gift. The Department of Defense is getting it as a gift, free of charge, in a very public and transparent transaction. Yeah, and then he talked about having it dedicated to his museum. So basically, by having it dedicated to his museum, he gets to use this airplane anytime he wants. And Andrea on Facebook says, definitely double standards. Yeah, rules for thee, not for me. That's the name of the game. Isn't it unreal? Will Stancil on, I want to say Blue Sky again. Can anyone explain to me how Trump donating the brand new Air Force One to his own presidential library right before leaving office so he can continue to use it is any different from the president stealing Air Force One? Show me the difference. Can anybody show me the difference between this scheme? You know, it used to be you had to be notified. You had to get special permission to put certain things in the presidential library. Oh no, Trump. All the criticisms against Clinton, against Obama, they just fall flat on their face. They fall flat. So let's see. Republicans silent as Trump refuses to commit to upholding the Constitution. Yeah, in an interview, remember when Donald Trump was asked, are you going to uphold the Constitution? He goes, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, get this. After that interview that he did, oh, by the way, quite a few Republicans have expressed concern about this latest bribe emoluments violation. I mean, come on. Look at all of the concern. Do you not see the concern on the faces of these Republicans? I mean, Susan Collins' concern is what we're looking at. Of course, every single one of these cretins would vote for Trump a third time if they could, without a doubt. But they're concerned. Just so you know, they're concerned. There's nothing Trump could do to lose their support. Trump could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and not lose a single supporter. He could literally accept bribes from the Oval Office and not lose a single supporter. Imagine that. Fake ass bitches is what I call these people, these cowards. Go to AI and ask it what ties Trump's family and the Patel having to Qatar, and you will be blown away. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Better yet, ask Grok on X. If you go to X and you type that in, I guarantee you're going to get a whole wall of text. Oh, and by the way, we're rescuing poor racist white Afrikaner farmers. Did you know that? Yes, indeed. Oh, it's getting real. It's getting real. A whole bunch of racist white Afrikaners are now under the protection of the U.S. Thank you for sharing the live. Please share the live, share the live. Keep double tapping, keep tapping. Let's get to 25,000 likes before the night's over. Indefensible, it's a bribe, such a stain. This is according to the concerned MAGA media stars, Ben Shapiro, Mark Levin, and Laura Loomer, all expressing concern over the Qatar gift. Unbelievable. You have tea about Zuckerberg. I think you mean Zuckerberg, right? Sweet Pea Zuckerberg. Okay, if you do, put it in the chat. I'll and pin it so I don't lose it. Yeah, it's not showing me pinned tweet. So if you pinned a tweet, you might have to do it again. Um, let's see. You know what? Let me expand the chat just a little bit so I can see it. But yeah, look at all of these MAGA influencers. You know, these same people that propped up Trump and make no mistake, they're going to do it again. They're going to vote for Trump again. Don't fall for the shtick. Hoodlum on Blue Sky says, if all he had to do was sign a piece of paper, why didn't he do it 9 years ago? So Donald Trump says he will sign executive orders to slash prices for prescription drugs in the U.S. I'll say that again. Donald Trump says he will sign executive orders to slash prices for prescription drugs. You know, we already had that. We already had that. Joe Biden worked out a deal with Medicaid and Medicare to reduce prices and would have done so again had he not been blocked by the right wingers in the Senate. I mean, Hoodlum asks a good question. Why didn't he do this 9 years ago if this was a possibility? We know it's smoke and mirrors. You cannot executive order this. Mark built a building for Grok and the AI, and people living in the neighborhood are, I cannot read the rest of that, are suffering because of how big the building is. Mark Zuckerberg built a building for Grok the AI. Okay, yeah, because it's using up a lot of electricity. That doesn't surprise me at all. That doesn't surprise me at all. It's the same as Bitcoin. All of the servers that are required to keep, yeah, water, yeah. That doesn't surprise me at all. Isn't that interesting? These people, they use up all of our resources. They pay hardly any of the taxes that you and I pay. You know, and they get huge tax write-offs and benefits. Unbelievable. I mean, and this is a good question. I have to ask it. Just by a wave of his hand, Donald Trump thinks that, you know, I mean, believe me, this is one of the laziest presidents we've ever had. He hasn't even released his health care plan. Remember that health care plan when Karen McEnany was his spokesman, his press secretary, and she had that fake bundle of papers? Yeah, there is no plan. There is no health plan. And then after that, he says, well, we have concepts of a plan. And then he claimed to have, after 6 years, he's got time for golf. He's got time for bootlickers. He's got time for rallies. He's got time to sit and sign executive orders placed in front of him that he has no idea of what they say, that he has to be explained to him what these executive orders even are. You know, he's got time for trothing and tweeting. He's got time for media appearances. I mean, he's got time to embarrass himself on the world stage, but doesn't have time to do the job of the president. One of the laziest motherfuckers on the job. Moving on. Wow, the neighbors don't have enough water to run their house. Yikes. So this is from Relentless on Blue Sky. The great unifier at work, age-old rivalries and hatreds, literal blood feuds on a country level, and we can all set it all aside to join in mutual hatred of that pompous orange piece of shit. This is Representative Jack Kimball. Congrats to the President Trump on finally getting India and Pakistan to agree on something. The fact that he would tell an obvious lie about negotiating a peace between them so that they would have to unify to call him a liar is fifth dimensional chess. Yeah, even India called him out on his bullshit and said, no, you're not negotiating shit. You haven't done shit. Ugh. I don't know. It's crazy. All right. Do we have time for a video? Now, before I play you these videos, I want you to realize that I'm not completely taken in by these people. These are ex-Trump supporters who are expressing their regret for their vote.
Hi, I'm Courtney and I left MAGA. I was a huge Trump supporter back in 2015 and 16, and then C-19 hit in 2019. And that's when I realized that the number one job of the president to protect the citizens of the United States, he failed at miserably. Then came the election lies, the drama, J6, and it hit me. This guy does not care about us. All he cares about is himself. And listen, it is not easy changing your beliefs, veering off course, especially when that means telling your friends, your family, people that you've known your entire life that your views have changed, that you disagree with them, that your fundamental views are completely different, that you're unlearning things, that you're questioning them. You start to learn that it's not actually about Trump or MAGA, it's an entire belief system. And that's why organizations like Leaving MAGA are so important. It's a community to fall into. It's a safe space to land. Oftentimes when you don't have any...
Okay, that's one. So there is let me see. There's a TikTok and I believe Facebook group for MAGAs who have left the MAGA movement. Ex-MAGAs, I guess you could say. Well, here's another one.
I'm Stefania Messina, and I left MAGA. I didn't set out to become MAGA. I just loved Jesus. But in church, I was taught that America was a nation under attack by Satan, and that abortion and gay marriage were cursing the nation. The only solution? A strong Christian leader. By 2017, I was fully indoctrinated into Christian nationalism and believed Trump was chosen by God to save America. Questioning him meant questioning my faith. But after COVID, the cracks became impossible to ignore. My husband and I left the church in 2021, and we realized it no longer reflected the love of Jesus, nor did it provide a safe place for our children. Leaving gave me space to learn how my faith had been tokenized and weaponized in order to manipulate me into MAGA ideology. Now, after 4 years of healing, my family and my faith are stronger than ever, held fast in the love and joy of Jesus, and free from the hatred and fear of Christian nationalism.
I don't know. What do you say, gang? Do you buy it? Does it sound legit? I don't know. I guess actions speak louder than words. I mean, if you've truly left the MAGA faith, and let's be honest about what it is. It's a cult. It's a cult. There is no doubt in my mind. You know, and people have claimed to leave it, but then they continue to vote for Republicans. I don't know. I guess your decisions, unfortunately, I have to say, your decisions have to affect you to the point where it changes your perspective. It changes, I guess, your entire worldview, your actions. It has to. You know. But it seems that there are a few MAGA persons who are regretting their vote and are voicing their regret. I mean, there's a TikTok channel dedicated to ex-MAGA to share their stories. You know? Are they believable? I mean, there's a saying, don't just listen to what they say, watch what they do. How did they vote? Did they bother voting? Do they care? Most of the time, you know, people who voice regret are experiencing backlash or the consequences of their decision. Now, isn't it sad? Why does it take a personal loss for us to see how bad a leader is? You know, but we can't seem to take lesson from the suffering around us. Only when it affects us personally do we seem to care. Isn't that interesting? I don't know. I posted a link to the YouTube live chat. Okay, I don't have access to that right now. But yeah, let's see. You know what? If you can post it in the Google chat, in the show chat, that'll help. Maybe I can open it later. Now, here's a TikToker who's having none of it. She doesn't have a single solitary fuck to give. And she'll tell you that under no uncertain terms.
I never thought that I would see a day where I would be rooting for a university above Donald J. Trump and his administration. How could Trump be such a free speech enthusiast and being allowing these things to happen? Going after college universities, trying to suppress speech. People who are still trying to grift, I suppose, are not willing to challenge you on this, which is ridiculous, because when you are out of office, we are going to have to live with these consequences. Our children are going to have to grow up in this America. When we threaten our speech, it's not worth it, so we can have pom-poms and go hurrah, because then go, okay, well, yeah, now it kind of stinks, because, oh, we're getting arrested. Watch Tucker Carlson and get on his own and get him. I love it.
I never thought the leopards would eat my face. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Well, I turned my back on my own kind, but I somehow thought that I'd be fine. Oh, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Slow it down now. I never thought the leopards would eat my face. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Turned my back on my own kind, but I somehow thought that I'd be fine. No, I never thought the leopards would eat my face. But we all knew what happened eventually to Candace.
Visit shop.francesca.net to get your Leopards Ate My Face merch.
I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Yeah, so Francesca on TikTok, and I believe you can find her on Blue Sky, find her on YouTube. She does a lot of these response videos. Here's a video that she does for people. You can't hear it on. Okay. Not sure why. Okay. All right. You can't hear the singing either. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Unless. Can you hear anything now? Please respond in the chat. I think it's because I had my mic going on two different places. And so I muted it. Okay. I'm not sure why. Let me do a quick mic check. Check. Test, test, test. You can hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay. All right. You hear me? Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what is going on. Okay, so we had a little kerfluffle there. Okay, please let me know as soon as the audio goes out, if it goes out again. God, this thing is. I'm being plagued with sound issues, I'll tell you what. And we're back. Okay. Oh man, I tell you what, if there never ceases to amaze me the sound difficulties, but this is the problem we have going through multiple platforms. Okay. No, I'm glad you told me. I'd rather that than not know. Okay, where were we? Okay, so we did Francesca. She also has the same message to right wing Republican Latino voters. So here we go.
These are two Trump voters in the
Okay, so now we're having problems with the source.
So you're about to speak at the
Yep, it's just one thing after another. Desktop audio. Scene sources. Let's try it again. No, of course not. Of course you wouldn't want to play. Give me a second, folks. Unbelievable. Unfucking real. Okay, so it looks like it's not going to play for me.
These are two Trump voters que mi esposa y yo votamos acá. Me sentimos un poco también como betrayed o engañados. Engañado, él dijo que iba a ir por todos los delincuentes, que entraron ilegal. Y ahí lo dijo muy claro. Lo dijo bien claro, ¿no? Pues es un engaño masivo lo que hizo. Es un mentiroso, está mucha gente enojada, ¿no? No solo inmigrantes, gente que vive aquí, que tiene generaciones y generaciones. Nunca pensé, le di la espalda a los míos, pensé que los leopardos me comerían la cara. Well, I turned my back when I unkind, but I somehow thought that I'd be fine. No, I never thought that I would Visit shop.francesca.net to get your Leopards Eat My Face merch. Ahora en español.
Yeah, so she's got the same message for those who, it doesn't matter. In Spanish, she's got the same song in English. But, yeah, this is what happens when people want to play around with MAGA. Play in our faces, play in black people's faces, want to express their anti-blackness. Well, this is what happens. And now they're getting, a lot of their family members are either being deported or, I mean, it's just, it's pretty sad. It really is. You know, I can't imagine being these people, and I don't know. It's just really sad. But, you know, what can you do? What can you do?
These are two Trump voters que mi esposa y yo votamos acá. Me sentimos un poco también como betrayed o engañados. Engañado, él dijo que iba a ir por todos los delincuentes, que entraron ilegal. Y ahí lo dijo muy claro. Lo dijo bien claro, ¿no? Pues es un engaño masivo lo que hizo. Es un mentiroso, está mucha gente enojada, ¿no? No solo inmigrantes, gente que vive aquí, que tiene generaciones y generaciones. Nunca pensé, nunca pensé, le di la espalda a los míos, pensé que los leopardos me comerían la cara. Never well, I turned my back on my unkind, but I somehow thought that Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I can't get any of my videos to play. I guess I can do one last Hail Mary. Hopefully I can connect my speaker, and if it'll work.
Let's go to Bluetooth and devices.
English.
All right, let's go ahead and try it one more time. If this doesn't work, we'll have to just... Okay, so now I have no way of connecting it right now. Okay. Let's try it again.
These are two.
Okay, that's that. No, we're going to keep trying. Game face, yeah. Unbelievable.
Son voters que después de todo votamos acá, nos sentimos un poco también como betrayed o engañado. Engañado, lo único.
Okay. All right, please check the audio on YouTube, please. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm still... Yep, everything says it's on, but yeah, still no volume. Okay. God damn it.
So you're about to speak at that, America.
All right. So, yeah, we have that. Sound is perfect. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the deal is. But something's going on. Something's going on.
So you're about to speak at the marriage meeting, right? Trump's not including Democratic women. I think it's super important that we have more women leaders. Well, what I think is more important is to make sure black people.
Well, anyway. Kenny wants to speak, yeah. I'd love to, but I can't get the sound going. Which is pretty sad. Let's try it again.
That's
What
right.
are you going to do since you're finally clocking back in to
Uh-huh.
uplift black women?
Well, first of all,
Sound is all
I
the way up.
want to.
Nope. Still nothing. Yep. Okay. But it's pointless because I can't hear it. So I'd like to comment on it and I can't even hear it. So for those of you on TikTok, I'll have to translate the video as I hear it.
Remind all women and
Okay.
black women in particular.
Nope. Okay. Swirl of Death. I love it. All right, let's move on. So we've got Kenny from Too Raw, Too Real. That's
Marriage
better.
Gala, right? Which
Yes.
focused on recruiting Democratic women to run for office. I
That's
think
right.
it's super important that we have more women elected leaders. But what I think is more important is to make sure the black women are uplifted.
That's
What
right.
are you going to do since you're finally clocking back in to
Uh-huh.
uplift black women?
Well, first of all, I want to remind all women and black women in particular that there is still so much ground.
So Kenny Too Raw, Too Real is having a conversation with former Vice President Kamala Harris, and he's trying to ask Kamala, okay, what is it that can be done so far now that the results of the election are in, and what can we do going forward?
To be broken. And know that you have support. Know that, again, that people will applaud you for taking that step to think about running for office and to run for office.
So Kamala Harris is encouraging all those who are listening to run for something. If you are in your local governments, it doesn't matter what the office is, at least try to run for something. Anybody can run for anything. I mean, look, town council, teachers, the teachers board, all of these institutions that have come under attack in recent years. Yeah, this is vitally important. It's important that we that we show support for our institutions by just running for anything, any office.
Know that I applaud you, as do so many, for you to have the ambition to know that you've got something at stake and you're prepared to lead because you have a voice and an opinion and a stake in the decisions that will be made through that office, whatever the office is that you seek.
Mm-hmm.
And that your voice is important, that you have and bring to.
So each and every one of our voices is important. Okay? We have an important message, and we know that people would listen to us if we open up our mouths and speak. This is how this happens. This is how change is affected. This is how change is brought. But it's not going to happen unless we decide to get involved and do something.
That platform, those microphones, a lived experience that must be reflected in the decisions that will impact so many people. And there are going to be so many people that will benefit from you being in that room, at that microphone, at that desk, making the decisions that you make. So you run for office, make sure that you pull together a group who are going to support you through the process. You're going to need to know how to fundraise, which means you got to know how to ask people for money.
So basically, learn the intricacies of the office you're running for. Basically, whatever it is, learn to fundraise. You got to learn to talk to people. You've got to learn to network and get involved in with local communities.
And know that you're not asking them to buy you a pair of shoes. You're asking them to invest in their future.
Mm-hmm.
And that it is perfectly right that you would expect that they invest in their future in supporting you in every way that they deem feasible.
So basically, the crux of what she said is you need to convince people that they are by them supporting you, they're investing in their own futures. And that's what we've got to get across to people.
I know people are discouraging rhetoric like "I told you so," but you guys, she did tell us so. You spent over 107 days traveling the country, warning us about Project 2025 and the effects that it would have not only on the cost of living but goods.
So this is another conversation with Kenny from Too Raw Too Real. He's basically letting people know, hey, Kamala Harris did try warning us. What is your message to people who did turn out to vote for you, who voted for you, and still they're not seeing the change that they want to see?
And what it would actually define as our citizenship. Given that he has been detailed the 900 pages of his playbook, what can we do as Americans to prepare for the ongoing attacks, or at least to mitigate them?
Well, first, let's speak truth about the fact that, as you said, Kenny, this playbook is a playbook that has been in the works for decades. So don't be duped into thinking, oh, this is just something that is the fancy of some wild thoughts that happened overnight. There have been a lot of people planning for the moment that someone would be in the White House to implement what we are witnessing.
Mm-hmm.
And
so basically, the Project 2025 is what Kamala Harris is referencing. Basically, this has been in the work for decades. This idea that the breaking down of institutions, the just running roughshod, redirecting money from the people to corporations. They've been planning this for ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And it's not a secret. They've been steadily planning this, and they've just been waiting for their opportunity to implement their plan.
it may feel chaotic, and certainly the tariffs are, but be very clear. This is mostly not chaos we are witnessing. It is high velocity.
So all of the chaos that we are seeing, all of the chaos that we are witnessing is not, it's orchestrated chaos. It seems chaotic to us, but to the people who plan this, to the people who have spent decades of their lives trying to implement this, they know exactly what's happening. They know exactly what is coming. And that is, yeah. It's just, it's pretty wild.
Implementation of a long-standing plan. And so let's be clear about an agenda that is at foot, because this fight against what is happening that is hurting people, yes, it will be about the next election, but it's bigger than that. It's about seeing where the tracks are being laid in a way that we know that we have to address them and be prepared for the consequences if we don't have a counter plan, which includes making sure that we get people out to vote, which means making sure that people understand the importance of fighting for Medicaid and Medicare and public education and all of that.
Yeah, I should probably call this the Kenny Too Raw Too Real portion of the show, because I've got lots of videos.
MAGA and the leftist misery makes me so happy. I mean, y'all won the damn election and you upset that me and Madam VP did bips on the ground. That's what you mad about. Child, when they saw me and Madam VP, they were just like, "Sit her with that man." But y'all, I'm on cloud nine. I don't give a fuck about what they say about me or Madam VP. We had a motherfucking time. And she signed my fan.
Is getting retired after today. We are not going to
So Kenny Too Raw Too Real is expressing his
the whole thing was a key.
joy
I mean, we
about
truly enjoy
being
each other's
with
company.
Kamala
You just
Harris
cannot fake this type of authenticity.
and his time in the.
Yeah, this little rabbit's foot.
This feels like an accessory of some sort.
It is. Okay, we're a little cheap over here. Okay, we're getting into some things. Okay, you know, black people, we just can't get it right. So.
Okay.
All right. So,
I
know. It's something. And the thing that makes it so funny is that these people are only miserable because they wanted to see a black woman be humbled. When she said that she doesn't inspire to be humble, they tried to take that as a whole personal challenge to humble this black woman, which they only shot themselves in the motherfucking foot. Okay, how's your 401k? Nuts, okay? Like, they want to humble us so damn bad, but stay mad because how can you humble the people that had to go through 400 years of slavery, oppression, stereotyping, redlining, profiling, police brutality, food deserts? I mean, we understand that this system wasn't built for us, but yet and still, we became congressmen, senators, presidents, vice presidents. I mean, you can't stop us. You thought you broke us. You thought you defeated us, but we're still joyous. You can't stop this black joy. It's too infectious. There's nothing you can do. It's eternal. It's forever.
Yeah, so Kenny basically was reiterating his time with Kamala Harris and how he was able to connect and have meaningful conversation. And basically, he describes how MAGA tried to use this moment to humble Kamala Harris and black voters in general. And it's literally had the opposite effect. They're not quitting. They're not going to stop. They're going to keep going. They've gone through slavery. They've gone through Jim Crow. They've gone through voter suppression, food deserts. They've gone through, you name it. They've gone through all the hardships, and they're going to continue fighting, and they're not going to stop.
So President Joe Biden was on The View today, and regardless of the clickbaity-ass title, on the contrary, he didn't.
So now, let's see. Kenny from Too Raw Too Real, go ahead and subscribe to him on TikTok. He is basically reiterating his view on Joe Biden and how Joe Biden's interview on The View basically reiterated the fact that we already knew. Joe Biden was capable. He has not gone senile. He is very coherent. He is very present. And it doesn't matter how much shit they throw at the wall. Fuck MAGA.
Not throw Vice President Kamala Harris under the bus. He said he wasn't surprised that Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris because of the.
Yeah, so Joe Biden talked about why Kamala Harris lost, and he said he wasn't surprised she lost, not because she wasn't capable or competent, but because of the racism and misogyny within the Democrat Party. I mean, Democrats are going to have to live with this. Democrats are going to have to figure out a way to excise this from our midst. But there's no question that millions of voters that turned out for Joe did not turn out for Kamala Harris. And we're going to have to live with this stench for a very, very, very long time.
Misogyny and the racism that the campaign was pushing along with corporate media.
I wasn't surprised, not because I didn't think the vice president was the most qualified person to be president. She is. She's qualified to be president of the United States of America. Right. But I was surprised. I wasn't surprised because.
So President Joe Biden was on The View today, and regardless of the clickbaity-ass title, on the contrary.
Yeah, so basically, it's just.
So President Joe Biden was on The View today, and regardless of the clickbaity-ass title on
Let's speed it back up to Joe.
content creators weaponizing their platform, spewing misinformation, causing voter apathy. And y'all motherfuckers still out here lying, trying to justify your inaction, putting everybody in harm's way because y'all didn't want to fucking vote for the damn coconut lady. Y'all are the damn problem. Y'all sitting here saying that Joe Biden didn't want no motherfucking ceasefire when we have the full pledged document of the ceasefire agreement that was actually agreed to by Hamas. It was actually mitigated between the United States, Egypt, and Qatar. It was led by CIA Director William Burns. So the only evidence that y'all have right now that y'all want us to believe is an ambassador from Israel that Joe Biden didn't want no motherfucking ceasefire. Y'all been telling us for fucking months not to trust the Israeli government. Now, which one is it? Do we trust them or do we not trust them? You can't have it both ways, bitch. And these same motherfuckers that are lying about Joe Biden and the ceasefire agreement were the same motherfuckers who tried to spread voter apathy, saying that, oh, genocide is my heart line. Oh, if you vote for Kamala Harris, you're voting for genocide. These same motherfuckers that said that we survived the Donald Trump presidency before, we'll survive again. Well, a lot of motherfuckers didn't survive the first fucking time. We lost 1 million motherfuckers due to COVID and his mishandling of it. Did you?
Yeah, so he reiterates the fact that during Joe Biden's presidency, a lot of people shared, thank you for the gift, I appreciate that. A lot of people spread misinformation and disinformation, which led to more voter apathy. And so a lot of people decided not to vote. And now we have to live with the consequences. And you have to realize people used I can't say what I want to say, but it's basically, I'm just going to call it the conflict between Israel and the Palestinians. We know it's not a conflict. It's way more than that. But people used the talking points of how Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are responsible for G-side. And we have to realize that, no, there are more things at play. There are more things in the works involving that. You know, it's amazing to me that, you know, we have a Congress that is responsible for arming Israel, and there's really nothing a president can do. A president is not supposed to be controlling the purse strings. That's Congress's job. And Congress allotted a lot of foreign aid to Israel, and a lot of that happened to be weaponry. And so if you want that to stop, if you want the pipeline of weapons to Israel to stop, you've got to change Congress. You know, blaming it on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I mean, that's kind of foolish.
Fucking forget. And then on top of that, y'all want to sit here and act like Joe Biden's accomplishments didn't exist. Did he not pull us out of a motherfucking pandemic? Are 71 Americans not motherfucking vaccinated? Are we sitting here dealing with when they kept saying over and over and over again on corporate media, recession's coming, recession's coming, recession's coming. Nothing fucking came but more motherfucking jobs under Biden. Nothing came but billions of dollars in projects and investments in our infrastructure. Nothing came.
So President Joe Biden was on The View today, and regardless of the clickbaity ass title,
video keeps going back.
It was led by CIA Director William Burns. So the only evidence for apathy saying that, oh, genocide and lower prescription drugs. Nothing came but $158 billion worth of student loan debt forgiveness under Biden. Now, y'all motherfucking...
Yeah, think about that. $158 billion. $150 billion in student aid forgiveness went through only because of Joe Biden's policies. It wasn't under Obama. It wasn't under Donald Trump. It was under Biden. And we have Biden to thank for it. Not to mention Biden pulling us out of a recession, pulling us out of, you know, just we lost over a million Americans due to COVID. We seem to forget that. Did we forget that already? How bad it was under the Trump administration and his mishandling of the pandemic?
Checks are about to be garnished. The problem is perception is motherfucking reality. If enough people tell you that the sky is motherfucking falling under the Biden-Harris administration, you dumb motherfuckers would truly motherfucking believe it. It was so simple to find the motherfucking information, find the resources that were readily motherfucking available to us. I don't have empathy for ignorance. We're grown. If your ass can spend the damn time to go find the cheapest pair of motherfucking sneakers or how you can go across the motherfucking country to go on a motherfucking vacation, you could take 2 minutes of your time to find resources that are going to make your life better. That actually has been spearheaded by Democrats. If you're looking for a content creator that's going to make excuses for you, I'm not for you, boo. I'm too raw, too real. Fuck how you feel.
Yeah, so basically, Kenny is expressing his anger about just ignorance and apathy. It's like, well, you know what? If you're not willing to do the bare minimum, if you're not willing to go the extra mile and educate yourself, then you're the reason we're in this mess. Ignorance and apathy is killing this country. I'll say it again. Ignorance and apathy are the reasons why we can't have nice things. You know? It's really that simple. You know? But with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and end the show right here. Hopefully we'll have more next week, and hopefully the sound will work. Okay. Well, hold on to that $20 gift, because I'm going to have Cash Apps linked to the bio of TikTok, so that'll definitely help, I think, once we get this show up and running. Oh man, I tell you what, I swear I'm going to become an expert before this show, before too long, because I've had literally everything go wrong on this show involving sound. It's just never ending. But what are you gonna do? All right. With that, good night, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on what part of the globe you're on and what time zone you are in. Thank you for watching the Skeptically Speaking show, and we'll see you next week.